And now at this time, we will have the visitor from the long past, but actually his name is Deacon David Brown, to tell us about the life of Harry Hosier and how his impact helped our 250th anniversary.
My name is Harry Hosier, and I was part of that early Methodist activity, that early movement of Methodists that formed the early churches here in the United States. I had the honor of traveling with Thomas Coke and Francis Asbury and some of our early pioneers in our denomination, and part of my role was to go out and preach, not in churches, but in the fields and on the corners, and I was considered by some to be a pretty good preacher. As a matter of fact, we used to gather our crowds together in advance or sometimes even after Francis Asbury and Thomas Coke would preach, and we would just have such a good time in the Lord. I know that we all started at one place. We all started at St. George. And when we started at St. George, part of my history is the fact that I was with Richard Allen, Absalom Jones, and others who, on that fateful day, were pulled up from our kneeling positions of prayer and asked to leave St. George. It was a difficult time. It was a painful time, but for those of us who remained, we call ourselves the remnant who remained and stayed with the Methodist Episcopal Church. Well, we knew we couldn't worship there, so in 1794 we decided to go and found a little butcher shop, and we gathered for our fellowship there. But 2 years later, in 1796, we actually purchased our own piece of property. Not too far from where we're standing right now, 4th and Brown, we had our own piece of property, and we established Mother African Zor United Methodist Church. It was called just African Zor at the time, but it was the mother because it became the source from which everything else flowed. And now we're standing here at our new facility. That was new then, but we're now at 12th and Mellon. This is Mother African Zor in the heart of North Philadelphia. We have a vibrant congregation, and all these years later, more than 200 years later, to know that we are still yet alive, that we still represent diversity, that we still represent all the gifts that God has given to us to comprise the family of Methodism. And in that diversity, we have one thing in common. We thank God for our spirit of unity, as well as our spirit of distinction and diversity. And at this time, I'd like to offer the prayer so we could have a good time in fellowship with one another. So I ask a blessing for the food that's been prepared, for the hand that prepared it, those that brought the food to the table, and for the nourishment of our bodies. In Jesus' name, we say, amen. Thank you for the privilege of being part of this wonderful story, this evolving story of we who call ourselves Methodists. Amen.
Amen. Amen. What a lovely testimony. And we thank John Coleman once again because he made this video, took the time to go all the way downtown to film this so that David could be present with us even though he was not able to come in person. What talent we have among us. So as you heard, we've already blessed the food, so it'll be legal to eat it at 12 o'clock. But I expect you to be here at the worship service at 10:30. We have lunch at 12, and then we're going to start at 1:15 sharp. We are now in recess.